a shoulder
Kind
guy.
of,
Like
oh yeah,
you get him on one line, Komarov on the other line, and then you
Yeah.
got two guys. Even though they're putting up points, Kadri at least.
yeah. So what I was
under the
thinking
skin.
last night during the game was, what happens if we were to take another injury to the forward line? Like, what happens if, I don't know, say Matt Martin sits out, or another winger, and you bring in Kapanen and Leivo, and say we start to perform?
What do you do?
What do we do closer to the deadline?
I think it just matters what. Okay, the Leafs are. I don't think the Leafs are going to be sellers in any coming year,
unless they get something. No, they won't be sellers, but they'll
might
always listen to offers, right?
Yeah, they'll listen to then like they've got enough young pieces that they can get rid of a couple of them. I don't know what you'd be,
but
I mean, like, you're talking about getting injuries to guys that are like other teams might not even find use for Matt Martin, or other teams.
Oh no, well we're probably stuck with Martin, but
no, I'm not saying like it's not a bad thing to be stuck with him. I'm just saying, like, an injury to those guys, I don't think it's going to really impact the way that the Leafs approach
in terms of
deadline.
the three that we have up at the end of the year, other than Willie we're definitely going to re-sign, but JVR, BOZAK, Komarov, like, I keep flipping on all these guys because, like, if we were to get another injury and Leivo and Kapanen both slot into lineup at the same time, like, does that spell the end for some of these guys for sure if those guys really step up?
Well, the Leafs aren't going to be able to afford all of them.
No.
Right? Because in the next, like, 2 years, you've got Marner, Nylander, Matthews.
Yeah. And Jake Gardner next year, too.
And Jake Gardner, which, like, I'd be A-okay if they decided to just move on from the Jake Gardner area. But that's just my opinion. I don't think that we're, like, I'm quite confident that they're not going to be able to sign all of BOZAK,
maybe
JVR.
one. And
no,
I mean,
maybe one, but realistically, like, is JVR? Yes, he's leading the team in goals, but is he a game changer in the fact that you need to hold on to him even for a playoff run? And
I think
BOZAK,
so.
I think, is just like I think that he
does his
benefits
job
from the players that he plays with. I don't think honestly,
he's not a game changer.
Defensive faceoffs maybe, but I think that you can replace BOZAK quite easily.
Yeah. So the couple things that I had was JVR. If he's stated that he's wanted to stay, which is fine.
But is he going to take like a home discount?
And I mean, like, he's what, 29, 28, whatever. He's around there.
What's he worth? 6.5 a year?
6.5.
And he'll probably go for 4 or 5 years anyways.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, if I was the Leafs GM, would you consider going up to him and being like, would you do 1 year contract? Because then you're up with Matthews, Marner, Jake Gardner, and you can keep him for the run next year, and then if he wants to bail, he can bail. If we can't afford him, we can't afford him. We can trade him at the deadline for something else, whatever. But if we can keep him for 1 more year, I mean, that would, kind of help out a little bit better. You don't have to rely on someone in the system, even though maybe Kapanen or Leivo can come up.
I agree, and if he would be willing to sign a 1 year contract, then sure, but I think that's like JVR's in control here.
Oh, for sure.
Because like,
I think he wants a long
he probably wants to make the run for the playoffs.
Yeah.
With the Leafs, because he's been here while they were shit. So,
but I mean, if he really wants to make the run with the Leafs, he sees how the team is. He knows what kind of goals he can get on the team. He knows he's in front of the net. He'll always get those goals.
Doctor's Fantasy Prescription of the Week.
David Backes.
David Backes. I am very proud to say that David Backes is on my team. And I seem to be winning by quite a bit. What are you talking about? David Backes.
You're not winning. I think you're playing me.
No, you beat me last week, though. I'm playing Boyko. But he... David Backes last night had a goal for Boston, and he had 8.1 fantasy points. 2 goals, for Boston. 8.1 fantasy points. I think that is the doctor's order. He, yeah, sure, I might be 0-3, but we're not gonna we're not gonna dwell on that fact. I mean, I've got the most points.
It's a long season.
Got the most points in the league this week. So
78. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, like that's all that matters. It's a building process. I'm 12 points clear of the next closest. So we'll just worry about that. I've had a couple unlucky weeks, but
I mean, still a long season.
It's still a long season. We're not even halfway through the fantasy season, and we already know how hectic things can go in fantasy. So
we'll finish from the Leafs. We'll talk about this for one more thing. during the Rangers game before Christmas, I think it was Elliot Friedman. He stated that the Penguins are kind of considering, moving out Letang's contract. 4 years left after this year at 7.25.
Right.
Now, should Leafs pursue this? Because Jake Gardiner is up next year.
Right.
So you could trade him.
Okay, so we ran a poll on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this is we got some feedback.
Got a couple discussion too.
So if you're the Leafs GM, would you trade Tyler Bozak and JVR, which is kind of what the Pens are looking for,
Elliot,
for a high-risk, high-potential defenseman in Chris Letang for 4 years at $7.25 million? Discussion time. And 66% of people said yes.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
I probably would because, like we said a couple minutes ago, JVR wants a long-term contract. We probably won't be able to afford it. He is 29, 30. He'll probably have a digression, going forward past 30. Bozak, you don't really need him going forward.
Yeah.
And Letang, right-handed shot, still pretty young. He is high potential. He gets points on the board. I think he has close to 30 now this season. They actually did just put him on the IR retrospective.
So, which kind of brings up my point. I'm a hard no on this.
No, you're hard no?
I'm a hard no on this. You're just talking about how we can't afford to sign JVR and Bozak. JVR is probably like a 6.5, maybe a $7 million dollar guy a year. Letang's coming in at $7.25 million. He's on the IR more often than he's playing. Yeah. He missed all the playoffs last season, and the Penguins still won the cup, so he's clearly not that much of an impact player. He's high risk. High reward.
High risk.
So JVR, he's been healthy, right? So if you're gonna so Bozak, I don't care. Bozak can be a throw into any deal. I don't think he's worth.
Not too much. Maybe
I
a
don't
third
think
or second round.
I think he's worth more to the Leafs than he's worth to other teams just because of his longevity and everything and where he slots in the lineup and everything. But I think if you're gonna pick between JVR and Chris Letang, you got a guy that's been scoring 30 goals for you.
Yep.
A year, right? He's playing on your third line right now.
For sure.
And playing on your power play. Okay, Chris Letang's going to come in. Well, they can't trade for him right now because he's injured, but Chris Letang, if he came in, he'd be top 4 defenseman.
Yep. Probably
nice.
Play with Zaitsev when he comes back.
Do you put those two together? I don't think you put those two together.
Zaitsev can sit back.
No, Zaitsev does not. Zaitsev steps up in the play.
You're not going to put him with Jake Gardiner.
You don't put anyone with Jake Gardiner. But I don't think JVR
like that. I
think that if you're Chris Letang he's injured way too much for the Leafs to pick up a $7.25 million contract for 4 years when they've got to pay Austin Matthews, who's going to be close to $11 million a year, and for 8 years.
Yeah.
And you got to pay William Nylander, who's not going to be far behind, probably $8 or $9 million a year.
Oh, Willie won't be that much.
Willie's definitely worth
I don't
that
think
much.
Maybe closer to 7.
If Jonathan
7 or
Toews
6
and Patrick Kane are getting $10 million a year.
Willie's not going to be there. There's no way.
If Jack Eichel is getting, what's he getting, like $10.5 million a year?
Or 11, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously depends on...
But he's also playing winger.
So is Willie.
Well, Willie's playing wing.
Yeah. I'm a hard no on Chris Letang.
I'm a 60% yes, just because JVR's contract's 4.5, and I think Bozak is 4 on the dot, which is 8. For Letang's 7.5, we can move Jake Gardiner out next year, and then at the end of the summer in free agency, we could play with the fact that maybe Doughty or Carlson, but I would rather have Carlson and Doughty over Letang anyway. So I'm a 60% yes, just for the fact that Letang, and I look at the style of play and what Penguins have gone through over the last 2 years. They've been to Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row.
Right.
Super banged up.
Letang missed every single playoff game last year.
Yeah, last year. And if you look at our team, I was thinking about it the other day as I put that poll up. I'm like, how many times, I try to recall all the games that you've watched the season of the Leafs. How many times has our defense really, really been hit to the point of where you thought they're going to be injured? Maybe a couple hits that have been, flat out.
Yeah, but it just takes one. And the Leafs, they do have a couple guys down in the AHL that are getting really good experience on a really good team. That could come up.
Yeah.
Right? And, obviously learning curve, but I think another factor that you have to think about is the way that the Leafs have been building this team.
Yeah.
Right? It's been draft picks, it's been AHL development, and then they come into the NHL like Leivo and Kapanen are the perfect examples.
Yeah.
Where, like, they're fringe player guys that are ready to come to the AHL. They're not the only ones down there that are, like,
Ready to go.
NHL ready. And you're gonna bring in a guy that is banged up. I just think it goes against the way that the Leafs have been, that Babcock and Shanahan and Lamorella. I think that it's against the way that they're trying to build this team to go out and spend that kind of money on a guy that's high risk, high reward.
I pretty much agree. I'm a 60% yes, I would do it, but I just know that he does live on the IR, and it's tough to take that risk on a guy. It really is, and especially with Liljegren, Dermott, Nielsen, like all these guys, Rosen's still down there too. All these guys coming up.
I would hate to picture the possibility that the Leafs end up playing Pittsburgh in the playoffs, and you have JVR scoring power play goals against them while Letang sitting on the IR. Yeah. I'd hate to see that happen.
To finish that off, I said it last night on Twitter, guys, during the game. I was like, I'd rather, right now, because Borgman played pretty good. He is getting better with every game.
He is.
Polak, I mean, like, he's old, he's slow. Like, he plays physical, which is good. Carrick had an absolute terrible game last night. Like, but the kid works hard and he fights with some grit, and I do like the guy. But I mean, going forward towards the trade deadline, I would rather see a guy with a 1 or 2 year contract, maybe expires at the end of the year, use him as a rental, slot him in instead of Polak and Carrick, because I mean, like, they can help out the run, but doesn't cost too much. Maybe like a 6th, 7th kind of guy. Yeah. Just pick up something else versus maybe going out and doing something too extra, like the Letang deal.
I think it's too much. I think that if the Leafs are going to do anything, it's adding like a little small piece.
The only way I think the Leafs should do it is if it's for an absolute steal. Like,
which
it probably won't happen because, again, Letang's got too much.
Again, I think Trouba's worth too much. I think that
Trouba.
Yeah, like he's a good player, but what was it, 2 years ago where he had the holdout?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, locker room, I don't know if you want that kind of person in your locker room, but I mean, he's a good player, definitely puts up points, he's more of a stay-at-home, big body, so he could definitely help, but I like that more than I like Chris Letang anyways.
Yeah.
All right,
so
6 games, is that enough for Zach Ronaldo?